the Silent Weapons Quiet Wars document. It's a 41-page document. They talk about that this document should not be released to the people because it is a declaration of war.
Task we have now is to actually create a new world order, an unrelenting stream of immigration, non-stop. Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. It's not going to stop, nor should we want it to stop. And that's how it should be. Democracy is sometimes messy. It sometimes requires a little patience as well. But that patience has been rewarded now for more than 240 years with a system of governance that's been the envy of the world. And we continue to feel, Senator and I, we continue to feel very good. And that's been the envy of the world. And we continue to feel, Senator and I, we continue to feel very good about where things stand. We have no doubt that when the count is finished, Senator Harris and I will be declared the winners.
A lot of pre-union guys, they'll do whatever you want. Yeah. They're rock and roll.
So I'm basically Deputy Rapid Response Director for the DNC for all things Trump on the ground. Nobody's really supposed to know about me.
No, I'm saying, we have mentally ill people that we pay to do shit. Make no mistake.
This guy named Cesar Vargas is his name.
I got a priest to cry on camera once.
You know, Brad and Bob and Lux and myself are all part of the old school method where it doesn't matter what the freaking legal and ethics people say. We need to win this motherfucker.
So Bob is really good friends with him, and talked to him this afternoon. And they are all in. If we can get 25 grand, they're all in.
Our investigators wanted to find out what it would take to get the highest favorable turnout. Democratic politico Scott Fovel was our target, and he was more than willing to lead us through the process of how to rig an election.
We did to them when we were in charge, too. So what we did the exact same thing. Only we manipulated the vote with money and action, not with laws. It's a very easy thing for a Republican to say, well, they're busting people in. Well, you know what? We've been busting people in to deep fucking asshole for 50 years, and we're not going to stop now. We're just going to find a different way to do it. You know, they used to bust people out to Iowa. If we needed people out there, we used to bust people out to Iowa.
When we met Scott Fovel, he worked for People for the American Way, an organization funded in large part by George Soros. He now works for Americans United for Change. It's a nonprofit that claims to, quote, move America in a new, better direction, unquote. With guys like Fovel working for them, we wonder what direction that might be.
They could invalidate. Well, okay, let's just say in theory, if a major investigation came up of major vote fraud that way, how would they prove it and who would they charge?
The plan that was discussed was how to bring people from one state into another state to vote illegally.
Are they going to charge each individual? Oh, sorry. Are they going to charge each individual with voter fraud? See, that's what I'm saying. Are they going to go after the facilitator for conspiracy, which they could prove? It's one thing if all these people drive up in their personal cars. There's a bus involved? That changes the dynamic. So there's enough money, then you have people drive their POV. Absolutely. Or you have them drive rentals. There's these things called used car auctions. Used car auction. The titles belong to some unknown company. They're company cars.
And you know, these are multiple employers. These are not all one employer.
Use shell companies.
Yeah.
Cars come from one company, the paychecks come from another. There's no bus involved, so you can't prove that it's en masse.
There you go.
So it doesn't tip people off. When I do this, I think as an investigator first.
Good. Yeah. Work backwards. Yes. Yeah, that's great.
I used to do the investigation.
Yeah.
A different method. I think backwards from how they would prosecute if they could, and then try to build out the method to avoid that. If the car has a Wisconsin license plate and is owned by a third entity, then it's much harder to prove that these people drove in from out of state. There's no bus involved, so you can't prove conspiracy. The question is whether when you get caught by a reporter, does that matter? Because does it turn into an investigation or not? In this case, in this state, the answer is no. Because they don't have any power to do anything.
Right.
You have to use multiple states.
Okay.
So what you do is you implement the plan on a much bigger scale. You implement a massive change in state legislatures and in Congress. So you aim higher for your goals, and then you implement it across every Republican-held state.
So starting on the grassroots,
that's honestly the ripest environment to do it in. Two, within striking distance. Michigan, Indiana. Least restrictive donation caps and campaign finance laws and investigation and any investigative arms and any of that. Like, they have weakened it so bad in these three states. You could fuck your mother in front of the governor and not go to jail. If you had enough money to go like this. So Bob Kramer comes up with a lot of these ideas. I work with Bob Kramer one-to-one all the time. I'm the white hat. Democracy Partners is kind of the dark hat. I will probably end up being a partner there at some point. Because our philosophy on things is actually the same.
Bob Kramer founded Democracy Partners in 2011. He is the husband of Jan Schakowsky, a Democratic congresswoman from Chicago, and in 2005 he pled guilty on tax violations and bank fraud. He was convicted and sentenced to 5 months in prison and 11 months of house arrest.
One of the things that Steve was talking to Scott about, that he passed on to me, and I think it's one of the reasons why I got in touch with you, he envisioned, what do you need to be able to vote in some of these new voter, what do you really need, okay? What makes you a citizen? And if you look at that checklist, it's an ID card of any kind that shows you who you are, and a pay stub that shows you're getting paid at a local address someplace.
I mean, to get registered.
Yeah, to get registered.
Yeah.
So you go in and register. If you have those two things, you're registered to vote.
Yeah.
So if you, let's say I had a business inside of, say, Illinois or Michigan, and I hired people, and I had addresses for them, I could write them checks for those. I could use them as day laborers or whatever, and use them and find my way around the voter registration laws for Hispanics. That's one thing. I'm actually, that idea, when he gave it to me, I was like, that sounds like something we could register huge numbers of people that way. Well, that kind of thing kind of stuck in my craw when he mentioned it to me.
All right, let me, on that front, I'm going to write down these options. Let me see if I can chat with the people who are most involved in Hispanic voter registration.
Okay.
And see what their thoughts are. I mean, there are a couple of different organizations that's their big trick.
Okay, yeah, if you know folks that you can put me in touch with, what if I,
We'll help you do this. I mean, this is very important, this stuff. Turnout is huge.
Because Bob Kramer is diabolical, and I love him for it.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from that man over the last 20 years, I can't even tell you. And he calls me
to be his firefighter a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because there are people who, in our movement, who will not do what it takes to get shit done. And I'm not that person. I'm the one they send when everything has gone to shit. So he spends a lot of time on the phone with my boss, actually, like asking for me to go places that I don't go.
We had our donor set up a second meeting with Bob Creamer to see how he could help put this voter fraud plan into motion.
This is re-enfranchising the voters. That's how I look at it, okay? If I could, through my company, employ these people for a day, okay, or for a week, or for a month, okay? And I could find work for them, useful work for them, and issue corporate IDs for them.
Here's my fear. We can run this by our lawyers.
Okay.
My fear is that someone would decide that this was a big voter fraud scheme. And
Creamer hesitated to help our donor pull off the voter fraud scheme that Fovel created.
Bob came back to me and asked me, what is he talking about? And I told him what we were talking about.
What you had done.
And he said, well, I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole now.
Right.
I go, nor should you.
Good advice.
Nor should you. He goes, good, I'm glad we're on the same page there. I said, however, other people can make things happen that you don't need to know about. And he goes,
so that's where I think this goes.
Yep. But you do understand, he's still going to have to know about it.
Mr. Creamer?
Yes.
Well, I mean, is that okay as long as it's outside of... Okay. Now...
We talk about lots of things that we don't talk about.
Fovel told us about a guy in New York that works with Creamer a lot. We wondered if he was the guy who could pull off the voter fraud scheme.
Yeah, I was to say, can we make some effort, especially within the midterm elections in 2018? This is not going to happen, right?
I know that.
So I think it's not about, for us, let's see who the next president is. If it's Donald Trump, it even makes more sense. The issue would be even more credible and much more opportunity for us to jump into this.
Right.
If it's Secretary Clinton and the voter ID laws are loosened and we have much more opportunity for people to vote, and we have immigration reform, it's not going to be as significant, right?
If you cross the bridge, can I come and possibly help us do that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Count me in.
We don't go off and tell these conversations to anybody.
No.
Because this is...
No, absolutely. As an activist, do we want to do this? Do we want to take a chance? Let's talk about it.
We have to do a better job of making our people do what they're supposed to do. Not asking them, making them, not expecting them and taking them for granted, but beating the shit out of them and making them like voters. Yeah.
This isn't the first time in my career that I've experienced espionage from the Chinese Communist Party. In 1996, when I was a young federal prosecutor at the Department of Justice Public Integrity Section, there were reports coming in that China was trying to influence our elections. Sound familiar? The investigation revealed the fact that China Aerospace and the Director of Chinese Intelligence conspired to obtain military, technology, and satellites from the United States. Long story short, the PRC deposited money in Chang's Hong Kong bank account that he used to then influence a 1996 election. This is not time a foreign power has attempted to influence a presidential election, and it certainly will not be the last. It's been 20 years since then. But that story could easily be a headline today, because the threat from Chairman Xi's Chinese Communist Party largely remains the same. However, today it's more aggressive, it's more expansive, it's more sophisticated, and it's better resourced. And for decades, the United States and its allies have been asleep at the wheel. COVID created an awakening experience for the American people, and the sleeping giant has finally awoken.
The Silent Weapons Quiet Wars document, it's a 41-page document. This document was a 1954 Bilderberg policy at the first Bilderberg meeting. They talk about that this document should not be released to the people because it is a declaration of war. a combination of irresistible attacks upon humanity and how they will control humanity. Politically, they talk about how they set up the political system right and left, but the bankers were behind everyone who was elected. I can't stress enough that everyone should read this. And this is their war plan. This is the war plan.